In the past, AAA games were the pinnacle of the gaming world. Massive budgets, cutting-edge technology. Mr. Krabs plays a real guy in Detroit Become Human?
Connor, the f*** are you doing?
These games were the ones that pushed the boundaries of what we thought was possible in gaming, and they came with an unspoken promise. These titles were gonna be huge, not just in terms of revenue, but also on their impact on the culture. But something's changed. In recent years, AAA gaming, once the shining beacon of the industry, is beginning to falter. These games are becoming underwhelming. Their sales numbers are disappointing, and even players are starting to turn away. Even the most anticipated new releases are being met with skepticism, and for good reason. And it's becoming clear that the model for making these games is broken. Why? Well, in this video, I'm breaking down the decline of the AAA game industry. I'll talk about what makes games truly AAA, and explore why these big budget titles are slowly losing their appeal. I'll also touch on the rise of indie games and why they're really filling the void left by these AAA behemoths. Let's get into it. Now, before we get into the spaghetti and meatballs of the issue, what defines a AAA game? Well, that's obvious. It's the Call of Duty 4 training level.
The targets!
Simply put, a AAA game refers to a high-budget, high-profile release from a major game development studio or publisher. Now, these games typically have enormous production values, ranging in the hundreds of millions, with massive teams of developers, millions of dollars spent on marketing alone, and distribution across all storefronts. Now, the goal with these type of games is to not only offer impressive graphics, complex gameplay, and a compelling narrative, but also to generate massive sales that can recoup the huge financial investment. Like, honestly, these games are starting to cost more than movies to make. Think of games like Call of Duty, The Witcher 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Assassin's Creed. These games are the cream of the crop when it comes to technical achievements in gaming.
Rise to the top, oh yeah.
A typical AAA game involves hundreds, if not thousands, of developers working across various departments. While these are kind of the defining traits for AAA games, the landscape has changed drastically. And really, not all, if any AAA titles really live up to this ideal anymore. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Why are AAA games dying? There are several factors that have been converging over the years to cause this shift. One of the most glaring signs of the decline of AAA games is their poor sales performance. Sure, some titles like Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto 5 continue to perform well, but many AAA games have struggled to meet expectations as of recent, especially in an industry where the cost of development continues to rise. The stakes have never been higher, but this also means that these games need to make even more money just to break even. While games like GTA 5 have made their money back many times over now, the majority of AAA games fail to generate that level of profit at all. There's also a sense of franchise fatigue in the AAA space. Every year we get a new iteration of Call of Duty, FIFA, Assassin's Creed, and other big franchises. While these games still generate significant revenue, players are starting to feel overwhelmed by the constant stream of sequels and yearly releases. I mean, FIFA's not even making an effort to differentiate each new title from the old one at this point. I mean, really, when a game franchise doesn't evolve enough, it risks becoming stale, and players begin to lose interest. Another trend we're seeing is the shift towards live service games, which are designed to generate long-term revenue through microtransactions, subscriptions, and seasonal updates. Oh, I hate this. While this approach has its merits, and yes, game developers need to make money, it also creates a situation where developers are incentivized to prioritize ongoing profits over delivering a fully realized complete game at launch. I mean, really, if you're selling a game for 90 Canadian dollars, 100 after tax, what makes you think I'm gonna splurge on all these microtransactions? Spoiler alert, a lot of people are actually doing that. Microtransactions hit hard. The problem is us. Now, let's talk about the other side of the equation. Performance and game quality. AAA games have always been expected to push the boundaries of what's technically possible and carry the torch for the next. However, as budgets have grown, so has the pressure to deliver. Unfortunately, many of these games fail to live up to expectations, both in terms of performance and gameplay. One of the most common complaints about modern AAA games is that they're often riddled with bugs, glitches, and performance issues at launch. And look at Cyberpunk 2077 is a perfect example of that. No one forgot. Assassin's Creed Unity, which I love that game, and Fallout 76, which is also kind of fun. And while these games are enjoyable now, it only took a couple freaking years to fix it. These bugs are forcing developers to issue countless patches and fixes in the months following release, and it's just day one patches. Like, honestly, this practice of releasing unfinished games has become more prevalent as developers and publishers rush to meet deadlines and market expectations. Another issue is that many AAA games are designed to run on consoles first and foremost. While this isn't inherently an issue, and it's a good thing for console players, they forgot about the PC market. Hi. Hello. Now, it makes sense that console experiences are more prioritized in terms of game optimization. I mean, it's much easier to optimize for one console rather than 1,000 different hardware specifications. This comes at the expense of the more powerful and expensive PC platform, which results in a lack of optimization for high-end hardware. I mean, if you start up Need for Speed Heat, which is a 6-year-old game at this point, that game is going to rev your fans because it just decides to use almost 100% CPU usage unless you apply a user fix from the Steam community forums. Like that. How? In the pursuit of profit, many AAA games have implemented predatory and quite anti-consumer practices like excessive microtransactions, loot boxes, time-gated content, and intrusive game DRM. Check out the video I made on this. The industry's become infamous for its anti-consumer behavior, and this has only worsened over the past decade by a lot. Let's look at some of the most damaging practices. Crunch culture. Now, a lot of us don't have to think about this. We just consume, yummy, good game. But we have to look at the game development side. These are real people too. Crunch refers to the practice of forcing employees to work long hours, sometimes even weeks or months, leading up to a game's release. And this is all just to get the game running good, because if it performs well and gets lots of sales, these employees are gonna get big bonuses.
You have been promoted.
But if it doesn't, you're fired. This practice has led to a massive burnout of developers, lower quality work, and a general sense of unhappiness within the industry. I mean, we could see it in the games we're playing nowadays. You can see the burnout. The public outcry over this has only grown as more and more developers speak out against it, with The Last of Us Part 2 and Red Dead Redemption 2 being examples of games that experienced major crunch periods. Hi EA, thank you for coming to your yearly check-in appointment. Let's see here. Oh, you've been diagnosed with sequelitis. AAA publishers are often overly cautious when it comes to innovation. The most they'll do is go one number up, opting to release sequel after sequel instead of pushing for fresh ideas. Games like Call of Duty and FIFA are fine examples of franchises that rehash the same mechanics year after year. And honestly, I mean, Call of Duty at least tried to innovate every now and then to its expense, but FIFA's not even trying at this point. Really hasn't been for the past decade. This stagnation leads to a lack of excitement and innovation, leaving players feeling like they're just playing the same game over and over again. Guess what? If you're playing a FIFA game, you are. Stop buying those every year. And now to touch on a topic I've already talked about in a last video, but it's so important. DRM and always online restrictions. They suck. Many AAA games now come with DRM, or digital rights management. Titles like Diablo 3 and SimCity 2013 have been infamous for their always online requirements, which left players unable to enjoy the game if the servers were down or if they didn't have an internet connection. Heck, if you bought The Crew, you just can't play that game anymore. Time to hop on over to The Crew 2. These kinds of restrictions create unnecessary friction and make players feel like they don't truly own the game they bought. Spoiler alert, you don't. Amidst the struggles of AAA games, indie games have experienced a massive rise in popularity and quality. The indie game scene has blossomed so much over the last decade. And if you're thinking about getting into indie gaming or thinking about developing an indie game, it's never been a better time. Many of the most exciting and innovative titles are coming from smaller independent studios. Games like Hades, Hollow Knight, Celeste, and Undertale have shown that you don't need a massive budget to make an impact. There's also this great indie game called Schedule 1 where you basically make drugs and sell them, but this game launched with a concurrent player count of over 200,000 players and rising. Indie games are beloved by players for their creative designs, compelling gameplay, and often emotional narratives. Indie developers have the freedom to experiment with new mechanics, tell unique stories, and avoid the corporate-driven pressures that are often associated with AAA games. You want a game where you have to decipher a new language every single level? That exists, and it's right here. You should play it. It's great. How about a game where there's a part where Death Grips is just in it for no reason? That right there, try that one out. It goes. Indie studios often put the players first, and they listen to their community and they make adjustments based on feedback as the game goes on.
Richard, I have the capsule.
This has created a level of trust that many AAA developers have failed to maintain in recent years. I mean, heck, would you rather talk to a real person or a support bot? We do our best to satisfy our players, and we thank you for your continued support and all your money. And indie games have proven to be financially successful as well. Titles like Minecraft, Among Us, Stardew Valley, these are indie games. Minecraft used to be an indie game, but Microsoft bought them, but then again, like a $2 billion deal, that's pretty good. Minecraft 2 coming soon. These games have showed us that there's a huge market for creative and well-executed games outside of the AAA sphere. The lower development costs and the ability to sell directly to players via platforms like Steam and itch.io make it possible for small teams to create highly profitable games. With all the problems facing AAA games today, what does the future hold? The truth is, things are looking grim for the traditional AAA model, unless you're Rockstar or EA. AAA studios will need to adapt to changing consumer expectations or risk becoming irrelevant. They need to focus on creating games that put players first, games that are fun, polished, and free of exploitative monetization schemes. Honestly, games that are fun. Just make a fun game. But can they do this while still meeting the financial pressures of the modern gaming industry? It remains to be seen. I mean, when you have a massive AAA game studio, you have thousands of channels and different employees to go through. It can be hard to get a good idea out the door. One potential avenue for AAA studios is collaboration with indie developers, and we've already seen it happen in some cases. I mean, heck, Toby Fox has gone on to partner with Nintendo and put Sans in Smash Bros. And we can even see this reversely, where the creators behind Vampire Survivors have like Castlevania characters get put into the game. Castlevania inspired that game. At the end of the day, AAA games may not be dying just yet, but they're certainly facing a critical period of reflection and change. Only time will tell whether the industry can find a new balance, or whether indie games will continue to rise and ultimately leave the AAA giants in their wake. What do you think about AAA games? Are they dying? Are there any recent ones that you actually enjoy? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you all for your comments. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the taco bell, and like always, I'll see you in the next one.